today I'd like to talk to you about the balance of work and play. A former colleague of mine named Bruce had a long, illustrious career, saved every dollar he'd ever made in his life. And he had this dream that once he retired that he would travel the world, he would move into a golf community, play golf as often as he wanted to, and everything was working perfectly. He retired, and then literally 2 weeks after his retirement, he was diagnosed with cancer. He died 6 months later. His wife lived another 4 or 5 years, and then she passed away. And the children got all the money that he worked so hard for over his lifetime. Now, his children were very different from Bruce. They went out and bought exotic cars with the money. They went on these lavish vacations. They just had a phenomenal time with Bruce's money. The challenge, though, is after a few years, they spent all the money and really had very little to show for it. They didn't pay down their mortgages. They didn't fund their children's educations. They didn't even fund their own retirements. So they literally had nothing to show for all that money that they had spent. And so this is where the balance piece comes in. Do you consider yourself more like Bruce, where you save everything you make, or are you more like Bruce's children, who literally spend every dollar that they get in their hands? And so the key is to strike the balance between the two. At the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen. Right? Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Any one of us could walk in the street tomorrow and get run over by a bus. You just don't know. But at the same time, statistics would suggest that most of us will live into our 70s and many of us will live beyond that. So we clearly have to have the resources to deal with our lifetime and with our retirement. So that becomes critical. So again, we go back to the balance and what is the best way to come up with the combination of these two things, to enjoy your life as you go, but also to make sure you maintain enough so that you can retire in a lifestyle to which you've been accustomed. And I think the other thing that I deal with all the time is just that work-life balance. You know, if it were, my job is such that I could work every hour of every day and every day of the year. And if I don't take the time and specifically schedule the time to get away, it just takes over my life. And for years, I never used most of the vacation I had available to me. I never took advantage of some of the things that I had. And one day I woke up and realized, you know what, I need to do these things. And it benefits me to do these things. I find that when I do take vacations, when I do step away, when I do take the time to enjoy my life, it gives me the ability to reflect and it gives me perspective on what I'm doing. It also gives me a greater appreciation for what I do from a work perspective. And it makes me more productive at the end of the day. So that's really what it comes down to. The other benefits are family. You know, I bond with my children, I bond with my wife, and that pays dividends, or can pay dividends certainly for years and years to come. So the key here is you have to identify what you want to do. If it's vacation, block the time, make the arrangements, and strike that balance between work and play.